Hi, I'm Kevin Bell, retired public affairs NCO and now a civilian public affairs guru with the 19th ESC Public Affairs team.
And I'm Staff Sergeant Adam Ross, the 19th ESC Public Affairs NCOIC.
This is a special day, as you get to hear the first ever 19th ESC podcast, aptly titled the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast. As well, that's our motto.
And of course, our first guests are the 19th ESC Command Team, Brigadier General Stephen Allen and Command Sergeant Major LaDerek Green.
Well, we do, after all, work for them, right?
Yeah. And we had a great conversation. They talk about their experiences in the Army, about what an ESC does, and the challenge of logistics in Korea.
And we also learned a bit more about each of them during the lightning round, and you'll find out what that is in just a minute.
But there's going to be a lot more, so be sure to subscribe to the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast on your podcast app of choice.
And here we go. Welcome to the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast.
Wherever you find American troops today, you find the men of the Transportation Corps. Enough and on time. That's the story we tell you today. The story of the Army Quartermaster Corps.
These youthful servicemen are members of the Army's Military Police Corps.
One of the most important forces behind the lines, the Army Ordnance Corps.
Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Team 19 Every Soldier Counts podcast. I'm Staff Sergeant Adam Ross, Public Affairs NCOIC here at 19th ESC. Today we are excited to be joined by the command team of Team 19. We have Brigadier General Stephen Allen and Command Sergeant Major LaDerek Green. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us here in the studio.
Glad to be here.
Thank you, Staff Sergeant Ross.
All right, we're going to start with a couple of just easy questions, getting to know you. We've both seen your command bios. A lot of us have. Just goes over your careers. But, sir, what your command bio doesn't say is what brought you to the Army and also what led you from the land of infantry to the world of logistics.
Well, how much time do we have? Growing up, I was exposed to a lot of people in the military and, to include relatives. And I wanted to make a choice first going to school. And I'd always thought about joining the Army or joining the service. And got to a point during my freshman year at college that I finally made the jump. And, there's to me, it always boils down to about three reasons. And the first one is that the education opportunities, earn a little bit of money while going to school. The second one is to do something bigger than myself. And then the third one was because I could. If you take a look at, people joining the Army or even the service, that 18 to 24-year-old group, and those that were eligible, just having the ability to join the service was a big deal back then.
And Sergeant Major, same question to you. What brought you into the Army?
Yes, and so thank you for having us here today. So when I look back, I come from a small town of Mississippi, and I came from a family of service. 10 or 13 uncles served, and I think the most important thing is I seen a big difference in my family members when they returned from service and the pride they had within their service. Also, what it truly gave me was an ability to break this thing they call the poverty trap. So service has created a lot of opportunities for me, my family, and also to improve the lives of our soldiers. So when I look back at it, I really wanted to, one, as the commander stated, become a part of something that was, larger than myself, uphold a family legacy, and really be a value added to my community. So I guess that kind of sums it up, what drove me to service.
And so, Sergeant Major, what was your initial MOS then?
And so my initial MOS was that of a 55 Romeo. It's an ammunition stock accounting specialist. It has since changed in the Army, that MOS to 89 Bravo. So I actually started off as an accountant and transitioned to now a transporter, right?
And, sir, I know you started out as infantry?
No, I actually started out as an engineer, enlisted engineer. I originally joined for the incentives, as a heavy equipment operator, 62 Juliet, and I was in a really good engineering unit where I grew up, and that got me, the life and times down to Fort Leonard Wood for a good summer, time for the basic and AIT. And then as I was going through school, I went ahead and jumped over to Leap of Faith into the ROTC program, and then put my request in and chose to be an infantry officer. And I did that for 4 years, knowing that I was going to be a branch detailed over to quartermaster.
Okay, sounds good. All right, gentlemen, we're going to shift gears slightly here now. We're going to do something we call the lightning round. And what this is going to be... So we're going to have some rapid fire questions going back and forth to both of you, and you both have the luxury of one pass where you can pass the question to the other chair. So we're looking for short answers to these questions. So we'll start with you, sir. What is something surprising we would find on your workout playlist?
Silence.
Okay. Sergeant Major.
Nothing. He likes to read.
Sergeant Major, what is your favorite place to travel to?
The gym.
Okay. Sir, where were you when you found out you were going to be promoted to Brigadier General?
Oh, that's an easy one. It was in Florida, Orlando at Disney World.
Oh, okay. Sergeant Major, if you were the next SMA, what's one thing you would change in the Army?
I would give everyone the ability to wear sports tape to prevent injuries.
Absolutely. Sir, what was something you did as a young soldier that current soldiers today maybe wouldn't understand?
Growing up, I would say the ability to write, communicate through the written word. You read that as mail versus the digital capabilities that we have today, and the use of phones for conversation versus what they are used for today.
Sir, do you have a favorite event from history you like to study?
I'm glad you're giving him all the difficult questions.
Well, I'll answer right now. Korean War. Okay. Right now, we are opportunities to learn and even share with those who have served here is a great opportunity, and this is one very large staff ride in itself here.
Okay, last question, Sergeant Major. What was your least favorite subject in school?
Math.
Okay.
I didn't make it past math to algebra.
All right, we're going to give you both an opportunity to catch your breaths. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get back into the easy questions, talking about what we do here at 19th ESC. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is our First Class Sam Martinez, 19th ESC Sharp Program NCOIC and Area 4's lead SART. Every member of the Army family deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. Even one incident of sexual harassment or sexual assault is one too many. Don't be a bystander and watch something happen. Recognize it and intervene by condemning acts of sexual misconduct. Don't tolerate obscene gestures, language, or behavior anywhere or at any time. Sexual harassment and sexual assault inflicts unimaginable pain on its victims. It directly and negatively impacts our ability to complete our mission here in Korea. If you need information about how to prevent sexual harassment and sexual assault, you can contact me at DSN 763-4067 or via cell phone at 010-6365-6953 on our 19th ESC Sharp Facebook page or on the 19th ESC website. Always remember, every soldier counts.
Okay, we're back at the 19th ESC Team Every Soldier Counts podcast. With me again is Brigadier General Stephen Allen and Command Sergeant Major LaDerek Green. Gentlemen, when we walk into work every day here at Camp Henry, we see a couple things on the building. We see Every Soldier Counts. We see Team 19. What do those words mean to you, sir?
Well, for the Every Soldier Counts, I'm going to pass this one over to the Command Sergeant Major, then I'll come back and answer it.
So when you look at Every Soldier Counts, And Team 19, I'll just start with, Team 19 in every soldier count is not just a motto, it's a way of life. It's a culture in which all our soldiers, our Korean nationals, our caduceus, our civilians live by here within our family. So it's not just a team. We call this organization a family. So I think every soldier count kind of captured the essence of who we are as an organization.
Similar to what Command Sergeant Major said, is when I take a look at that, it's every single soldier on the peninsula counts. Every single person that it is in support of our soldiers counts. It takes a lot from the time somebody decides they want to join the Army or the service to come in, to get trained, to get equipped, and for us to do what we need to do to receive them on the peninsula, to ensure that their sponsorship is in place, that they're received, all the way through the flights coming over until they get to their unit, and then all the way indoctrinated into their unit, and to be able to take care of them. And it's important that we ingrain that, excuse me, that we have that culture set in place to make sure that they feel part of a family, and that includes building that trust.
Yes. So when you look into the commander's point, for many of our soldiers, they're first-term soldiers, join, as we stated earlier, to become a part of something greater than themselves. And so ensuring that they're properly sponsored is a key part of, what we do here. And so when you, I would say, come a part of the Army family, and in this case, Team 19 family, what better way as symbolism on who we are when you come to this headquarters and see every soldier counts. I'll tell you, it's a critical part in what we do, because this really shapes the values, attitudes, and beliefs of our first-term soldiers. As the commander stated, how do we inculcate them into this thing we call the Army profession, and let them know that also, even though you're away from family, you're still amongst family.
I look at Team 19 as not just the ESC, but everybody in the 19th ESC across the peninsula, and everybody in Area 4, because it takes everybody down here to be able to do our critical mission sets, which becomes Team 19. And so that is we receive everybody in, everybody that's down and operating in this area. They're part of that bigger team, and we would not be able to do the whole mission set without them.
Yes, sir. And so, and one last point to the commander's comments is every soldier count in Team 19 and the holistic view of it. We also talk about our alliance, right? So that team is our combined team. That our team with our caduceus, and in many cases working with our Rock Army counterparts and our Korean nationals. So we call that here Kapshi Day. We go together. So I think, again, that just kind of captures the essence of what it means to serve here on the Korean Peninsula and a part of Team 19 family.
And speaking of Korean Peninsula, Sergeant Major, another phrase we see around Korea is assignment of choice. What does that phrase mean to you, and how has it been your assignment of choice during your time here?
So when you look at the assignment of choice, so what we're really trying to do is capture what do soldiers, family members, Korean nationals, what culture do we create for them to choose our organization, for them to communicate to others outside the organization, the benefits of serving inside of our Team 19 family. So as the commander stated earlier, the assignment of choice it's different from for family members and each soldier, just based off their needs, wants, and desires and what they've joined here to do. For us as leaders, how do we understand that and provide to family soldiers, our Korean nationals, and even our caduceus, things that they joined for, and at the same point in time, it gives them the ability to accomplish, the things that we need them to do for us in our Fight Tonight mission.
I'll say that it takes more than just 3 words, assignment of choice, to be able for people to want to come here and serve, and then sometimes even come back for a second and third tour. And it takes all areas for the where they live, what they have access to, the people, the safety, the security, the team. Do they feel wanted? Those are key factors that go above and beyond 3 words. It takes leaders to be engaged from the time that somebody first finds out they're going to come here to the first impression when they step off the plane into the terminal, how they are greeted, received, and all the way through their first tour, whether that's 1 year or command sponsored with their family for 2 years or even 3 years. It takes active leadership at echelon to really back up what you say with 3 words.
There's a lot of acronyms in the Army. Some are more familiar than others. When you hear ESC, maybe there's probably a lot of soldiers outside our organization who don't know what that stands for. If you were to explain what an ESC does to a civilian family member, how would you explain that to them?
So if you were to explain the ESC to a family member, I guess in this COVID-19 environment, it would be better described as delivering things that they need to their front door at the point of need, those critical items that they need to support their life, to ensure that they maintain a healthy lifestyle and that they're living in a safe environment. Well, that's what we do here in the 19th Expeditionary Sustainment Command for all organizations across the Korean Peninsula in armistice and also at a time of war.
To break it down in simplistic terms, if a family has ever had to move from one part of the United States to another part, whether they're affiliated with the military or not, and they have household goods and they have food and cars and things like that they've got to pick up and move. Now, our mission there is to do that for our soldiers. For training in peacetime, and then also if we had to transition to contingency. All those type of commodities that you would typically need, some type of transportation, some type of subsistence or ration support, some type of fuel capability. If you have own personal weapons, you're worried about those and your ammunition. And then if your vehicles, to prevent them from breaking down, maintenance capability to do that. That's in simplistic terms, for me, is what we do on a very large scale.
And you touched on it a little bit there, sir, when you mentioned contingencies, but you both served in a number of sustainment units. But what makes as the largest forward deployed ESC in the Army, what makes our sustainment mission here challenging and different from other ones?
So when you look at our sustainment mission and what's so unique about it, I think it's our combined relationship here in South Korea. It's much different than if you were partnered in, the relationships in which we have in Iraq or Afghanistan, or even more so if you look at Germany. So here, not only our combined nature with our Rock Army counterpart and our Fight Tonight mission, because where we stand is where we're going to fight. There's no deployment to another country to fight a threat. So this relationship here in South Korea is a very unique relationship. Additionally, if you look at the majority of the soldiers here are first-term soldiers. So that creates its own unique challenges, but even so, its advantages. So I'm sure all of us know the challenge was, in many cases, and you look at the COVID environment, soldiers are coming directly from basic training AIT. So in the first 3 months, really, they've been here 9 months without seeing their family. So that's challenging within in and of itself when we talk about resiliency. However, the closeness that we have, and we kind of talked about Team 19, the family atmosphere, every soldier count, career assignment of choice, this gives us the ability to overcome some of those challenges. So that's the uniqueness about serving here in this organization and in Korea.
Taking a look at what we do on a daily basis and who we interact with, it starts with people and the relationships that you built and have maintained for several years, if not decades, to keep a strong bond, a strong alliance moving forward. That just doesn't happen overnight, and it takes continuous engagement, training, combined engagements, and not just on the military side, but also on the civilian side. We have great relationships here in the Daegu area and in Area 4, and that is to me key, being forward deployed at establishing, maintaining, and keeping those relationships moving forward. Everything else inside of the ESC, we have our core units, but we also have to be ready to receive more and be providing support for not just Army, but joint and multinational support, which we have done for some of the training that we do. That to me is one of the big differences being forward deployed.
And we're in the new year right now. We're coming up on just about 1 year since the COVID outbreak, when we started really in the fight against that. What are you both telling leaders within our formation for how we're going to win that fight through 2021?
Let me preface this with where we sit now it was the epicenter for the epidemic here in South Korea, with 6,000 infections directly outside of our gate, about 1.6 miles from the entrances here. And so one of the key factors that protected our force and protected our community was very simplistic. Wear your mask and ensure that you're adhering to enhanced sanitation procedures, washing your hand, disinfecting frequently touch surfaces, etc. So what made us a success then are the same things that's going to make us a success in the future.
From somebody who was stateside while this was happening in South Korea, from a distance watching it, was much different than back stateside, what we're just starting to go through. And it wasn't really until I got on the ground to see the dedication and adherence across the formations to the core tenets and how it was working with the discipline, wear of the mask, the hand sanitation, the social distancing, minding your meter. I flew in actually when it was in Charlie, HPCon Charlie, into this area, and then about a week later, while I was in quarantine, we went to Bravo. So I didn't experience, I didn't understand what Charlie really meant. I heard stories. So I was enjoying Bravo for about 2.5 months, and then all of a sudden we snapped back. Then I had a real understanding of what everybody here had been going through since mid-February to about May timeframe down here in Daegu. And after 39 days of being at Charlie, I was like, okay, I understand. And keeping the foot on the gas on the mask wearing, the hand sanitation, and for new people coming in, starting early, starting with the sponsorship piece, to let them know that you come to Republic of Korea, the core tenets are working, and if you're not comfortable wearing your mask, get ready, because you're going to wear it and it's going to work.
I want to thank you both again for coming by for our inaugural episode here of the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast. We definitely have a lot more we could discuss, so I'm sure we're going to have you both on in the future.
And there you have it, the first ever 19th ESC podcast.
In our next episode, we talk with Captain Quankita Wright of 65th Medical Brigade's Behavioral Health Team, who provides a lot of good advice about how to stay mentally sharp during a time of the year when the holidays, cold weather, and lack of sunlight make all of us just a tad bit less mentally sharp. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast on your podcast app of choice.
And remember, every soldier counts.